Dear students, today let us see this topic, design of turnbuckle. The turnbuckle is as shown in this diagram. It is a coupler in the middle, and on either side there are rods. You see, on one side it has right-handed thread, the other side it has left-handed thread. Right-handed thread means one in which if you are rotating in the clockwise direction, uh, then it uh, it gets tightened. Okay, so the left-handed thread means if you are rotating the clockwise direction, it gets loosened. Okay, now you see the video here that I am showing. Turnbuckle, or it's also sometimes called as coupler. This is a mechanical joint used to connect two members which are subjected to tensile loading. These are normally only under tensile loading. I don't think compressive loading comes on this. And these are used when slight adjustment in the length is necessary. Length, you have to reduce or you have to increase. Then you will be using it. Or when some adjustment in tension under the loading conditions is needed, then you will be using this. Say this is consisting of a central hexagonal nut, but it is not necessary that should always be hexagonal nut. Okay, it can be circular also. Okay, it a centrally one nut is there which is called as coupler, and tie rod having right hand and left hand threads. You see, a coupler of hexagonal shape is why to facilitate the turning of it with a spanner, or or if it is not hexagonal, then some hole is provided, so that the provided in that coupler or in that nut, so that with a Tommy bar, as you have seen in the video there, with the Tommy bar you can be inserted, and you inserted for rotating it. As a coupler rotates, the tie rods are either pulled together or pushed apart. Why it happens? Because one is left-handed thread, the other is right-handed thread. Okay, depending upon the direction of the rotation of the coupler, normally the tie rotation of the coupler, and these tie rods are either made of steel. Yeah, tie rods should always be made of steel. They cannot be made of cast iron. Cast iron is not good in tension. Cast iron is good in compression. So the rods cannot be made of steel. Sorry, made of cast iron. Rods should be made of steel, and the coupler can be made of cast iron also, or steel. Okay, cast iron means you can cast and cut threads on it. Okay, that's why cast iron will be easy. A steel may be difficult. So Okay, so see the applications of the turnbuckle. You see, to tighten the members of the roof truss. Truss means what? In the overhead, in the big sheds and other things, where company factories and other things, where the roof is made of trusses, and there you have to tighten the members. Then you can use the turnbuckle, and use to connect link in a mechanism to transfer motion. And another example is, it is used between two railway wagons or bogies, and to tighten cables or stay ropes of electric distribution poles. Electric distribution pole means our electric pole is there, either made of cement, or it is made of iron pole. Okay, and that, it should not bend towards one side, so therefore what we do, we put a stay rope. Okay, that stay rope also, sometimes it may become loose or something, then you have to tighten it, so you can use turnbuckle. So turnbuckle, you see, it has here, you see it has a hexagonal nut here. Okay, on this side you have a right-handed. RH means right-handed. This thread, right-handed thread, this is the rod. On the left, on this side it has left-handed threads. Okay, and the nut is provided here. Here there is a nut so that this screw may go in, and here there is a nut that this screw may go in. Okay, this is a hexagonal one. I don't think this is the front view of it, or it. Okay, they see there is a circle hole provided here, for putting the Tommy bar. Okay, this appears to be more as a circular coupler here, not a hexagonal shaped. Okay, see here, this portion from here to here is the nut, and here this is the screw. See, wherever there is a screw, there should be a nut. Okay, you may say there are screws, which we are putting in the wall, or we are putting in the wood. There it is no nut. Okay, then in that case, that wall or nut, that wood itself is working as nut. But wherever there are threads on a screw, there should be corresponding nut should be there. So here, if this is the right hand thread, so similarly, this also will be a right-handed nut. If this is a left-handed thread, this will be a left-handed nut. See, inside the threads should be cut in that way. Okay, both should not be of the same type of threads. Both are right-hand thread. This coupler will not bring them together. It will be simply moving from this side to that side. Okay, only if they are made of different threads, then this will this can be used either to tighten the rods, tighten the tension in the rods, or to slacken the tension in the rods. Okay, now let us come to the design of the turnbuckle. See, when we are designing, it is because it is subjected to the axial force P. See, the various dimensions can be calculated. First one, every time all the rods, we are designing the rod first. Okay, and here this rod diameter is called DC. Why DC means the C stands for core. You see, actually, if there are threads there, then in the threads, there is outer diameter and there is inner diameter. Outer diameter is called DO. Inner diameter is called as DC. DC means core diameter. You see, if it is breaks, where will it break? It won't break where the more diameter is there. It will break where the core diameter is there. Diameter is less. Diameter DC will be lesser than DO. Therefore, where we should design considering the least area. Least area is at DC. Therefore, DC we should take. Okay. The axial tensile load is P. The rod is subjected to tensile stress. Also, due to twisting moment, sometimes it may twist, and some twisting may be coming in the tie rod. Okay. So, the tie rod is designed considering only the tensile load, but it is increased because this twisting moment is coming. So we will increase instead of 1p. PD means what? This is the you can say design stress or design load. D stands for design. The P is load, we know. Okay, design load we will take instead of P 25% more. 25% more means what? 1.25 into P. Okay, though so much, we are increasing the load, and then we take. In other joints, we have directly taken P. Okay. Uh, so, how does it fail? It fails in tension. Tension, the strength equation is tensile stress sigma T is equal to load upon area. So, for here, no, because now we are considering the design load, it will be design load. Design load upon area. Area is pi by 4 dc square. Okay, so if P is given, we can find out PD, and sigma T will be given in the problem. Therefore, we can find out DC. DC is the core diameter. Once core diameter is got from this equation, then the nominal diameter or the outside diameter, it can be selected for isometric threads from the table, which table will be given in the design data books. So every designer will have a data book, he can see it. But if you are not having, suppose in your exam you will not have a data book to do it, so this is the formula that you can use. This we can I may ask you in the quiz question. Okay, see, what is the relationship? You see, DO, which is the nominal diameter or the outside diameter, is DC upon 0.84. Okay, DC upon 0.84. That means what? You see, which is more? DC should be small, DO should be more. You see, if you take like this the other side, DC is equal to 0.84 times of DO. Okay, so this number, this formula you remember. The outside diameter can be found. Once you know core diameter, you can find out outside diameter. Suppose somewhere else you know outside diameter, you want to find core diameter also, you can use this formula. Okay, now coming to the next step, that is the length of the coupler nut. Length of the coupler nut, the coupler nut, how long it should be, considering the direct shearing of the load at the root of the coupler nut and screw. Now here shearing takes place. See, now here the shearing takes place. Suppose this, we are pulling this side. Okay, and here in this nut here inside, what happens is, this nut, few threads are in meshing with the threads of this rod. Okay, few are there, few threads are there. You see, it may so happen that this may pull it apart and come out. That means what? All the threads here are sheared. Sheared means they cut loose and came. Okay, so that is what is happening here. You see, direct shear stress induced in the screw thread and direct shear stress induced in the nut. First, let us see about the nut. Nut, where will it be shearing? Nut will be shearing at the outside diameter DO. And for what length? Length of the nut, Ln. And at the periphery, therefore, it is pi DO. See, the shear stress in the nut, N means nut, tau is shear stress. Shear stress in the nut is load upon pi DO into Ln. Okay, this is the area of shearing. Okay, whereas in the stresses, the shearing takes place at the core diameter. In the screw thread, the shearing takes place at the core diameter. So this should be DC. Okay, see, what is DC? Core diameter. What is DO? This is the outside diameter or nominal diameter. Okay, and the Ln is the length of the nut. Okay, so these two equations you are having. You see, suppose the screw is made of steel, so this shear stress will be of steel. If this is made of cast iron, this shear stress will be of cast iron. Okay, if suppose in the problem both are same material it is given, this values will be same. But here, you have to use these two formulae, and these two formulae you can get the value of Ln, because you know both DC and DO. Then, but by empirical relation, the length of the coupler is taken as either 1 times DO or 1.25 times of DO if it is made of steel. If the coupler is made of steel, this is the value we take. Okay, but if it is made of cast iron, so this length of the nut will be taken 1.5 times DO or 2 times of DO. You see, then you may ask a question, should we take 1 times DO or 1.25 times DO? It is up to you. I told you before, everybody will not be getting the same answers in design. It depends upon, individual person, what values you are getting. Just because you have taken one DO, nobody is going to mark that as a wrong answer. Okay, so the length of the nut can be calculated like this. Then if you are calculating the length of the nut according to the empirical relation, then what use is this? This is used then for finding out the induced shear stress. Once you find out the induced shear stress of the nut, induced shear stress of the screw, then you should find out whether they are within the permissible limits or not. If they are within the permissible limits, then the design is okay. If it is outside, then you will have to increase the area by changing the dimensions. Okay, that is one step. Next step is checking for crushing of the thread. You see, crushing stress also is induced. For crushing, it is in the crushing is taking place in the threads. In the threads, so it is like a concentric circles. So the area will be pi by 4 do square minus dc square, and this is for each thread. How many threads are there? There are n number of threads. Okay, and what is the length of the nut? Ln, and crushing stress is sigma c. So this is the the crushing resistance of the threads. Okay, then this should be equated to our design load, and design load, if you are equating from this equation, you can find out n. I think we have not got n still. N is how many number of threads should be there in the, yeah, yes. Okay, you can find out n. N is number of threads per length. Okay, number of threads is ln upon p, where p is the pitch diameter. See, actually, n also you can find out. You have already known ln, and from the design data book, if you can know if dc is this much, do is this much, what will be pitch? Pitch you will find out. So once you know pitch, you can find out n. Okay, that n you can substitute. Then what you will be doing, all these things. So only induced shear stress you can find out, induced crushing stress you can find out, and you see whether this induced crushing stress is less than the permissible crushing stress. If it is less, it is safe. Okay, then the outside diameter of the coupler nut. Outside diameter means what we are doing. See, this diameter, outside diameter means here it is given as d2. Oh, sorry, this one. This is the nut. Okay, nut is here. This is the ln is this one. You see, length of the nut. We are not considering the total length of the portion where there are no threads inside. Threads are there for a shorter length only. Okay, this is length. Okay, what we are finding out is capital D there, and that D, okay, length of the outside diameter of the coupler nut. The coupler nut is subjected to direct tensile load and a torque T. But considering the shearing of the coupler nut due to tensile stress induced in it, in order to account for the torque, the tensile load is taken as PD. You see, here no, actually tensile load also is coming and torque also is coming, but to make the things simpler, we are not going to consider torque. Will be considering only design load. Then what about this? Therefore we are increasing this load by 25% to take care of torque also. That's why we are using PD, that is design stress. So the tensile stress induced in the mm, uh, tensile stress induced in the coupler nut is given by this formula. This sigma T is equal to, tensile stress is equal to design load upon area. Area is, this is like a, concentric circles only, no? Pi by 4 d square minus do square. Do square, why not dc square? Because if you take do only, this area comes less. Least area we should take. dc if you take, it will be, area will be more. You draw in the, you see in the diagram, you make, you just think about it. If there are threads like this, which one should we take? Should we take dc or do? Which will give us minimum area? Because it always fails at minimum area. So do place will give us minimum area. So find the outside diameter of the coupler from this equation. Otherwise, for that also there is an empirical relation. See, empirical relation capital D can be taken as 1.25 times of the outside diameter, or 1.25 times or 1.5 times of the outside diameter. Okay, any of these two you can take. So if you take this value, then what you should do, you should find out the induced tensile stress, whether this is within the permissible limits or not. Okay, then next is outside diameter of the coupler. You see, coupler is the central portion and coupler nut is on either side, small portion where there are threads. Okay, so coupler outside diameter is d2. See, this is the coupler and to the end only there are nuts. This is called coupler nut. This also is called coupler nut. And here this is the coupler. The coupler outside diameter is D2 and inside diameter is D1. Okay, what we are finding out is now the coupler's outside diameter D2. This coupler outside diameter D2, and what about inside diameter D1? Inside diameter D1 is taken as outside diameter of the screw threads plus 6 mm. This is an empirical relation. Okay, and D2 is the outside diameter. Okay, so this is fixed. For this we will not be doing anything. Okay, let us see about D2. Consider the coupler subjected to direct tensile load and a torque. So for design coupler outside diameter, the design load is considered. See, the tensile stress induced by the coupler is given like this. The tensile stress induced in a coupler is sigma T is design load. In design load, tension as well as torque is considered. Twisting is considered. That's why it is taking 25% more than P. PD is more. Okay. Then pi by 4 D2 square minus D1 square. There is no small d2. You should have used it capital D2. This is wrong. This should have been capital D2. Capital D2 square minus small d1 square. This will be the area where it fails. It is failing. See, I'll show you where it is failing in this diagram here. You see, if it is tearing here like this, if it tears, so resisting area will be pi by 4 d2 square minus d1 square. That will be the resisting area. Okay, and now from this you can find out d2. Otherwise, there is an empirical relation. For d2 we use 1.5 times of small do or 1.75 times of do. Okay, this we can use. Okay, but if we are using this and finding the value of d2, then what will you do with this equation? We have to find out the induced shear stress, induced tensile stress, and you should check whether the permissible shear, whether this is less than the permissible tensile stress or not. If it is less, it is safe. Okay, and then next we come to the remaining things. The length of the coupler nut. See, first what we have, length of the coupler nut. This is not ln as shown here. This should be, I think, L. Let us see in the figure what is given. Yeah, this is the length L, capital L. This we are using ln. Ln we have already found out. Ln, you see, ln we have found out here. Okay, you see some of the notations they have given wrongly. Okay, so length of the coupler, it should not be coupler nut. Length of coupler, capital L, should be 6 times of DO. Okay, this is according to the empirical relation. You know formula nothing. Here and the thickness of the coupler. Thickness of the coupler we have already got. You see, this is D2 minus D1. There is no need of thickness again. Thickness of the coupler. You see, these 6 and 7 are unnecessary steps here. Our design finishes with 5 itself. So with this, this is the design procedure for the design of the turnbuckle. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.